Welcome to part 3 of the custom Star Wars Black Series Hoth Diorama series I'm making. I'm just documenting what I'm doing along the way to show you how I make my dioramas, maybe to help you make yours, and just to give you some ideas if you're just starting out like I am, and maybe you can learn from some of my mistakes as well. So today we're going to make icicles, and I'm going to make a couple snowy mounds by gluing some pieces together here. So some of the tools you're going to need your hot glue gun, as always. A Dremel, definitely for this. You could do it again with just a box cutter, but I do recommend having a Dremel for this project. And your marker, you may need to mark where you're going to make cuts if you want to draw it out ahead of time. I'm also going to attempt, this may be one of the mistakes that I make, I'm going to attempt to make a little section by using a Dremel and creating some bones that stand out. And of course they won't look like bones once I've cut it out. It won't be until I've painted it that will actually look like bones. But first you got to do the cutting. So I've got that. And then of course you're also going to need your mask if you're going to be using your Dremel. So let's get started on this. Alright, time to glue our pieces together so that we can make some larger icicle pieces. This is simple enough, right? You just glue it on and go. Hold it down firmly, that way you get it nice and secure. And you should be good. Alright, so when you're making your hills or rocks, you're going to want to layer your pieces, as I discussed earlier. Alright, so when you're ready to make hills, rocks, any type of layered creation, you're going to cut your foam in different sections, and you're going to glue it together like so, which I'm about to show you, and then you're going to cut into your hill as you want it, or your rock, how you want to design it. And that's kind of one of the creative parts of all this that you really get to have some fun with. So I'm going to go ahead and start with gluing this snowy hill together. Of course, it doesn't look much like a snowy hill at this point in time. Looks like a bunch of green styrofoam. Alright, so that's pretty quick. So we've got two pieces here, as you can see, and then we've got icicles that we're going to be trimming to look more custom in a minute. Alright, so now it's time to Dremel. That's the fun part and the dangerous part. So we're going to put our mask on and get started with the Dremel, start making these more detailed icicles for the diorama. Right. Let's go ahead and start with some of the smaller pieces. So now we're going to make some of the larger icicles with our Dremel. You could of course use again a blade or a box cutter for this, but I'm going to use a Dremel just to add a few more extra details to it as I'm working with it. It takes a little bit longer with the Dremel, but again you can add some extra fine little marks in there that if you choose to add that, you can. Alright, so here we go. Let's get started. You kind of go from something that looks like this to something that looks like this. Big difference in the end. And when you paint it, it's really going to look like an icicle. So if you don't notice, I'm wearing different clothes. That's because this is day 2 for part 3. I probably spent a good hour to hour and a half, and I just said, okay, I've got to call it quits. I hit it up again tonight, and needless to say, I put a good hour and a half to maybe 2 hours into this tonight, just making icicles. So at first I thought, man, this is going to be easy. You know, just crank out some icicles real fast. No problem. It takes a lot longer than what I thought. As do most yard projects that I decide I'm going to do, or house projects. I'm thinking, oh, I'll get it done in an hour. It always takes like 4 times longer. So anyways, we've got some icicles. They look pretty neat. Different sizes and also different shapes. Those look pretty similar, but they're very unique in their own way. And I did do most of it on both sides. Some sides are a little bit more detailed than others. That's okay. Obviously, I'm going to pick the more detailed side to show. I also smoothed out some snowy hill caps. These I might come in and put some epoxy putty, the Tamiya epoxy putty in. I'm not sure. That would just smooth it out a little bit more. I may hit it with a fine grit sandpaper. Woo, you can tell I'm tired. I don't even know what I'm saying at this point. And then the last thing that I've got is this cool little skeleton remnants of some sort of tauntaun or creature, we don't know what. But in the movie, in that one scene in the Wampa Cave, there is an area, a little snowy area where there's some bones. This isn't exactly the same, but it's pretty close. And I'm really happy with it so far. I'm going to go ahead and paint these details later, and it's going to make it look really neat and give it some authenticity that I'm looking for. So what else? I think that's pretty much it. I'm not going to do anything else for part 3. This was it. It was just icicles and obscenity, and I'm really done with it. So I'm getting a little tired of this one. I think I've spent a good bit of time just on the foam creations between the rebel door, the background, the icicles. It's all adding up, and I'm getting tired and exhausted from this project. But I still love it, and I'm still excited, and I really want to make it look cool. So I don't want to, like, you know, do a halfway job on it just because I'm tired. So I'm going to keep trucking along and make some good icicles, make it look really neat, so that when I do paint it, it looks awesome. So stay tuned for part 4, where I probably start attaching some of these to the base and the top. If not, I'll find something else cool to add on. So stay tuned for part 4, and thanks for watching.